Hey, Bob here. Welcome back to the show, episode 364. Today, we're going to be talking about something that we call the stay stuck cycle. And I suspect that this lesson or this message today is going to be very eye-opening for many of you. If you're somebody that struggles when it comes to building a team, leading people to success, or really just finding those higher quality motivated, we like to call them business builders. If you're somebody that struggles in those areas, then this is going to be an important episode for you today. But let me dig into this thing that we call the stay stuck cycle. It's kind of this thing that it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy that we kind of create ourselves in our business. And so I want to walk you through the starting point and a series of steps. This is the normal progression that I see in most of our clients' businesses that come to us for help in this area. And I know it's going to resonate with a lot of you. So here's where it starts out. For most of you, the reason why you struggle building a team, it's not because you don't know the right people. It's not because you don't have enough time. It's not because you're not capable. It has nothing to do with your results or lack thereof. It has to do with one simple thing. You're using the wrong strategy. Most of you are using what we call transactional strategies for selling and recruiting. Now, selling, you can get away with it sometimes, selling the product. But when you're using transactional strategies when it comes to sharing your business and recruiting, it really, really limits your results. And I want to explain to you why. In short, most of you are trying to recruit today the same as you did in 2020, not realizing that you need to radically shift your approach. So what is a transactional strategy? So a transactional approach to recruiting focuses on two things. It focuses on product and price. Most of you, if you were to look at your business conversations, I bet you're leading with your story. Here's what the business has done for me. Here's the compensation plan. Here's the products. It's almost like we're talking and telling, we're presenting to people why we think our thing is so great and why they would be good at it. Now, here's the first issue we run into. We've talked about this many times before. When you're leading with product information, it is the most deadly thing to your results because it triggers people's sales resistance. Maybe you're talking to a customer of yours and you really think they'd be a great consultant. We come in both guns blazing, telling them all the stuff, presenting the argument why they'd be great and why it's so great. And we lose them before we even start because it triggers their sales resistance and they emotionally shut down. So what happens is you lose people right away in conversations, or here's more likely what's happening for a lot of you. You're doing the same thing in your content, and the very best people you know, like your dream recruits, they're not even having conversations with you because they see the way that you're running your business online, and they're thinking that's not something that I would want to do. So you're missing the opportunity to tap into those types of people. The second thing transactional strategies do, it focuses on price. So when we talk about the business, the price is really the cost of somebody doing it. See, there's this important relationship between value and price that you need to understand. Someone will only say yes to joining your team and being willing to do the work if they believe that the value of the actual business is greater than the cost that they'll have to pay, the price that they pay. And so what's the price or what's the cost when it comes to the business? Well, it's the amount of money, time, and effort that it takes for somebody to put in to be successful. It's also, there's the physical cost of getting started, but that's the very smallest part. Part of the cost are the opinions of other people that you know. Like most people have had these not so great experiences with network marketers and social sellers. So one of the things they really need to get over in their mind is like, do I actually see myself doing something like this? And what are my family and friends going to think? So all of this amounts to be like a pretty big price in their mind. And so the reason why most of you struggle with recruiting, or you're not able to recruit the kind of people you really want, is because you don't know how to build the value in their eyes for what you do. So here's what most of us do from a transactional point of view. We think, well, if I just make it seem like it doesn't cost as much, that'll be how I succeed. And so we do that by telling people it's not so hard. It doesn't take a lot of time. We're just diminishing the effort and all of the things that, by the way, are not true. And we think that that will get people to our business, but it actually does the exact opposite. See, the people you really want, there's something called perceived value. And when you make it seem easier, it automatically in their eyes seems less valuable. The kind of people you would love to recruit, they're not looking for an easy buck and they're not afraid of hard work. They just need to know that it's going to be worth it. And so it's critical in a business conversation. You need to learn how to say the right things and ask the right questions to be able to build the value instead of just trying to make it seem easier. Here's what winds up happening, and this is the start of the cycle. What winds up happening is you wind up attracting a lower quality, less committed person. Somebody that's looking for an easy thing or a quick buck. Somebody that doesn't have a lot of self-confidence, but they're like, maybe if I purchase this lottery ticket, maybe I'll hit. And doesn't that kind of describe the way most of your recruits feel? Like they're not committed. They're not wanting to grow. They're not building a business. They're just hoping they talk to a couple of people and get lucky. And so the first step is because you're using a transactional strategy, you attract a lower quality person to your business. Now, the second part of this cycle is this. Those people are who they are. They're not willing to do the work. You're struggling to motivate them. You have to hold their hands all the time. You're trying to pump them up and make them more confident. And ultimately, what winds up happening is they wind up just quitting and failing. But the problem is this. We don't make it mean that just they failed. We make it mean that we failed them. It's our fault. I must have done something wrong. I could have done something different. We start placing all the blame and all the weight of their failure on our shoulders. And then we see this happen over and over and over again. And it slowly starts to erode our confidence and belief. And so there we are. We're at this point in our business where we're down on ourselves. And we start to look at the people we know. And here's the way I want to explain this step to you. If you think about all of the contacts that you have, you could categorize people into A, B, and C. And here's how this works. You're always B. You have people that you look up to and that you look down to. You have people that have a more success than you. They have more personal growth. They have a higher social status, a bigger network. We all have these people that we look up to in all these different ways of just life and business in general. But then we also have people we look down on. People that we're further along and more successful in a bigger network and all so on and so forth. And so because of the place where we're at, we're down on ourselves in business. We don't have the results. We've lost confidence. We never prospect the A's, right? That's not even a possibility because we think, man, they're not going to take us seriously. And we actually don't even prospect the B's because the B's, the people, these are like our family, our closest friends, our social circle, our work colleagues. We're so afraid of their opinions of us, right? We don't prospect them because these are the people we spend the most time with. So what do? We prospect down. We prospect the C's. We try to become the savior. We try to give the life raft to people who are drowning. The people that said, oh, I need help. They complain all the time. We go and we bring the opportunity to them thinking, well, they say how they need an opportunity all the time. Let me give it to them. And so we're prospecting down, but then it just continues to dig the hole deeper and the cycle repeats. We're bringing in people that are very high maintenance, right? They don't have a lot of drive or motivation. They want you to do everything, right? I ran into this with a client in my business. She's one of the top sellers in her company, consistently recruiting, but she's recruiting C-level people. And she's got to a point in her business where she's like, I literally have no time for myself or my family because no one can do anything in my business unless I help them. And so there we are. Now we've got this team of C's, and then one of two things starts to happen. You either eventually reach a point where you stop even sharing the business because you're like, what's the point? Either they're not going to join or I'm just going to recruit somebody else that's going to steal all my time and I don't have enough time anyway. And I see this a lot. People are like, I'm just going to focus on the customers and all this other stuff. Or you reach that point where you just don't have any more time and you can't do it. Now you start feeling burned out and overwhelmed and you start resenting your business. This is the stay stuck cycle. Some of you have been caught in this for years. And so what I want you to recognize is that it is something you can break free from. But here's the first and most important step. In order for you to break the cycle, you've got to start recruiting and targeting a higher quality person, a more committed person, a more driven person. Look, the truth is this. There are certain qualities and characteristics that somebody should possess or that they need to possess to be successful in your business. And what most of you are doing is this. You're in a company that leads product and you're not selling with any intention. You're selling to the people that need the help, the C-level contacts. They're becoming your customers. And so your pool of potential consultants is just who they are. And so in order to break the cycle, here's what you have to do. You have to sell to a different person. Start with the end in mind. Ask yourself, Who is the ideal person for my team? What would a leader look like? What are the qualities and characteristics that I would want to work with? What's the kind of person that I would enjoy spending time? Like, get really clear on who that person is. By the way, they're like you in almost every important way. And then you ask yourself this question. I know who this person is. Think about your product and ask yourself, what specific problems for this person does my product help solve? And so in all of your marketing and all your selling, your content and your conversations, you're speaking to this specific person's problems. You're selling to them. And doesn't it make sense at the top of the funnel, if you have a higher quality person buying from you, those people are naturally going to become consultants. And that's the way you start building a better business. You start selling to a different person. Now, I get it. This is easier said than done. It requires you to go through the process of knowing who that person is. You then have to identify the problems. You have to know the questions to ask and what parts of your story should you share to connect with them and actually create that value and trust. And this feels like something that is kind of like a mystery of how to do. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you soon on the next episode. Take care.